unlimited market opportunity is available for you in this space. So who are some prospects? Where do we start? Well, first I would really start with your existing clients. Go through your your book of business and pick out those people that you think would be good for a disability product. Your existing clients know you and they trust you. And I'm going to venture to say that at some point in time, you've probably sold yourself a policy, which makes you a client, so I would really start there. If you don't own one on yourself and you qualify for one, I think that you truly need to own one. Let's think about this for a second. Who's more likely to leave you? The client that has your term policy and thinks that they could save, $5 or $10 a month, or the client that has your term policy and your disability policy? Your loyalty and persistency are going to increase offering multiple products, and disability insurance can be one of those for you. Self-employed. The self-employed is a huge strong point with Assurity Life. Real quickly, not to get into too much product, but we offer a one occupation class upgrade for the self-employed here at Assurity. If your client has been in business at least 3 years as the owner of the company, they own at least 10% of the business, and their net income last year was at least $30,000. This saves your client anywhere from 20 to 40% of their premium. Typically, we see it in the 30 to 35% range. The nice thing about this with the self-employed is that you, as the writing agent, you don't have to specifically be looking for this. If our underwriters see that your client has met those criteria, we'll automatically take care of it for you. So back to my initial topic here of the self-employed and why they're good prospects. Well, self-employed typically don't have a lot of benefits, and if they do, they're very expensive. This allows you the opportunity to go in and offer these people nice benefits at an affordable cost. One sales idea that we have, and we're seeing a lot of traction with this, the vast majority of states allow for the self-employed or the small business owner to opt out of workers' compensation on themselves. You can go in and replace that with a fully underwritten disability product, and now your client is covered 24/7, sickness and accident, on and off the job. And in the vast majority of the scenarios, you're going to save that client a ton of money. I actually ran some rates for workers' comp in the state of Nebraska versus our Century Plus policy, and in some scenarios, we were saving the client as much as $450 a month, not a year, a month. So those are some opportunities and a nice sales idea for you to maybe try to use and get some experience with that. How about prospects? Anybody with a mortgage? Only 3% of mortgage foreclosures are due to a death, but 48% of mortgage foreclosures are actually due to a disability. Now, I'm not saying to get rid of that mortgage term policy that you've written your client, but doesn't adding a disability policy to that make an awful lot of sense? How about asking your client a simple question? You don't have to own a home to be a prospect for a disability policy. Ask them, do you rely on your income to pay for your rent, cars, groceries, or bills? If they can answer yes to any of those things, they are a prospect for a disability policy. How about an even easier question to ask them? What is your most important asset? And then sit and wait. There's going to be silence, and they're going to think for a second. It's not their home. It's not their car. It's their ability to get out of bed every day and earn an income. Their income is their most valuable asset. Ask them how that's protected. How long could they take a vacation for? Could they take a vacation for 6 months? Of course, everybody's going to say, well, no. Well, why not? Well, I can't afford to. Well, if you're sick or hurt and you can't go to work, isn't that technically the same thing besides all of the fun? Really, it is. And if they don't have a disability policy put in plan to have a stream of income, should they not be able to go to work because of an injury or an illness, what are they going to do? Here's another good sales idea. Give them the idea of the two jobs. Job A says, I'm going to pay $78,000 a year. But if you get sick or hurt and you can't go to work, you get nothing. Job B pays you $76,500 a year. And if you get sick or hurt and you can't go to work, you get $50,000 tax-free. Which job would you choose? Of course, everybody picks job B, right? Makes a lot of sense. And all that is a disability policy. Taking 2% of this person's income covers over 90% of their take-home pay. So if you think about it, 90% of their take-home pay doesn't really affect their lifestyle in a considerable fashion. Are they going to need to stop going out to eat, as often as they were? Yeah, probably. Are they going to be able to, have the fancy cell phone with the data plan and the iPad and the data plan with that too? Maybe not. However, those are just minor changes that they can make and not have to worry about their home being taken away, their car being repossessed, those sort of things. One of the tools that we have available for you is an underwriting checklist. We call it the DI illustration checklist, and it's really a pre-screen tool for your clients. Now, this looks like a simple piece of paper, and I realize it's a little bit hard to read on your screen. But basically what this does is this asks the client what their job duties are. We're not concerned about your client's title. We're concerned about what they do on a daily basis and what percentage of time they do that. That way we can put them in a proper occupation class for you. Next, we're going to be finding out, how does your client earn their money? Are they a W-2 employee or are they 1099 or self-employed? If they're W-2, we use gross income. If they're 1099 or self-employed, we use net income. This helps us provide an illustration to you for the proper benefit amount. That way we're not over-promising the client what they think they may be entitled to from a benefit standpoint. The rest of the questions are some generic health questions. And this allows you, after you have this thing filled out, send this over to Jetter & Company, and they will do the underwriting pre-screen for you. If you need assistance with the illustration, they'll even send you the illustration as well. And up front, you're going to know if your client basically pre-qualifies or if there's any chance for any ratings or exclusions that will go in that policy. You're setting the expectation with the client up front before you take the application. Now, the reason I say this is so powerful is not only from the standpoint, I guess, of pre-screening your clients, but we've actually kept track at Assurity Life the producers that use this versus those that don't. And the producers that use this on a regular basis place 20% more of their cases than those that don't. So by taking 5 to 7 minutes of your time and filling this out with your client before you take the application, you're putting money directly into your pocket. I highly recommend that you use this tool. As I stated earlier, needs analysis is kind of an important factor. And we have a needs analysis tool called the DI Game. Game being groceries, auto, mortgage, and electricity. This is a nice way to start a conversation and to let your client know, hey, if you're not willing to protect all of your income, let's at least cover these basic things. That way, again, you don't have to worry about your home being foreclosed, car being taken away. Groceries are always going to be on the table, and your electricity is always on. Most importantly, especially for where we live in Nebraska here, and Amy can attest to this, we get the worst of both worlds. If that heater's not on, you're in trouble during the winter. If that air conditioner's not on in the summer, you're also in trouble. So you don't need to worry about that either. This is a tool that's available out on AssureLink, and Amy and her people can get this to you as well. Let me talk about, switch gears real quick and talk about the application process. I think this is really important too, versus what's easiest for you and what's easiest for your client. I would highly recommend using Assurity's tele-app versus using the full application. In the full application, you're going to get all of the information from the client. You're going to ask all the general questions. You're going to ask all the health questions. If the client needs paramed, blood, or urine, you're responsible for ordering that and quarterbacking that whole thing. That's a lot of extra time for you. And maybe there are certain scenarios where you know the person well enough that you don't really want to get into their health history with them. You want to sell them the policy and you want to help them out, but maybe you don't need to know all the medications that they're on and this and that. That's where the tele-app really comes into play. Okay, the tele-app is so easy, you're not even going to believe it. All it is the demographic section, page 1 of the application. It's the product section. That way we know what your client is applying for. There's a HIPAA form, and there's also a bank draft form should the client want to do a monthly bank draft. You send that into Assurity, we take care of the rest. Our own in-house associates are going to call your client. They will ask all of the general questions. They will ask all of the health questions. And should the client need a paramed, blood, or urine, we will schedule that for you. That allows you the time to go out and start working on your next prospect. Okay? What I will tell you from an underwriting standpoint as well, on average, the fully underwritten app where you ask all the health questions and you do all the work, average turnaround time on a decision, 28 days. On the tele app, average turnaround time, 15 days. We just cut that in half for you. So I highly recommend that you use that tele app. Let us do all the work for you. You get the full pay for it, but we'll take care of the work. How does that sound? I'm going to switch gears, and the other product that I want to talk to you about briefly is our Acci-Flex product. So the question is, what is Acci-Flex? Acci-Flex is an accident-only life policy with an accident-only disability income rider, return of premium, and waiver of premium riders put on it. As you can see here, we offer at ages 18 to 60. The face amounts for death benefit range between $50,000 to $250,000. We also have this available on our electronic application system. By the way, all of our disability applications are also available on our e-application system, and you can even do the tele-app via the e-app. So ease of doing business is one of the things that we really strive for, and I think we've done that here. If you submit an Acci-Flex policy via our e-application and it gets to us before 1 o'clock, you will have an answer and the policy will be mailed by the end of the day. If not, you get $100. Not bad at all. So basically the Acci-Flex is an accident-only disability policy that has an accident-only disability income rider. So, well, why Acci-Flex? There's only one health question on the entire application, and it asks, has the client ever been diagnosed or treated for HIV and AIDS? If they can answer no, we get them the policy, no problem at all. Never, ever, ever will there be any medical underwriting. And it's a low-cost alternative to traditional life insurance. Maybe you have clients that can't qualify for a life insurance policy. Maybe you have clients that can't afford even a term policy. Maybe you have clients from a disability standpoint that don't qualify or can't afford it. This is an easy way to cover those people because there's really no underwriting involved with it. So the other question we get is, well, who buys this thing? You know, manual labor workers, vocational drivers, construction, police officers, people who are more prone to be disabled or killed due to an accident. As we said, people that can't afford traditional life insurance, or even those that don't qualify. One idea that we have, and I know Amy and I have spoken about this extensively, being that she occasionally rides a motorcycle with her husband. How about anybody with a motorcycle, ATV, or an RV? Makes a lot of sense for those people. You know, my idea was, you know, if I had a license in the state of South Dakota, I'd set up shop at Sturgis, and I'd be selling these left and right all day long, and I'd only have to work for a week a year. But I think it makes a lot of sense because, you know, those accidents do occur. So those are, you know, those are some ideas of people who are, you know, could own an Acci-Flex policy. That really wraps up, you know, we really cover this at a real high level today. But I guess I would like to open it up if Amy can unmute the lines and see what questions you have about, you know, some disability conversation starters or about that Acci-Flex product.
Sure. If anybody has a question, it seems when we unmute lines, you know, we have a lot of feedback. So there is a raise your hand feature, or there is a chat box at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions, please feel free to, you know, to ask. And if you think of something later, you know, give me a call. And as always, if I don't have the answer, Todd's just a phone call away. So kind of the bottom line is you know, I think all of you know my story, you know, my personal story with disability, and I think it is so important that every client that you're talking to, whether it be at their kitchen table or your office, you know, you're at least asking them these questions. You know, you can't make them purchase it, but I think it is so very important that you're at least having the conversation. And any client is a prospect. You know, if they have a job, they need to have disability. The bottom line is if that paycheck goes away, their lifestyle is going to change.